we want to start with that breaking news. Heavy hearts at CMPD today after losing one of their own. Officer Mia Goodwin was killed early this morning while responding to a crash on I-85. She was one of 4 officers hit when 2 tractor trailers collided at the initial crash scene. The other 3 officers are doing okay at this hour. We have team coverage for you this afternoon. We want to start with WCNC Charlotte's Richard Vane. He's been live on scene since early this morning. So, Richard, what have you learned about what exactly happened?
Yeah, Ben, good afternoon to you. Basically, a lot of heavy hearts still here. Officers looking like they're in shock. As you can see, there are squad cars behind me. And as far as this scene, it continues this morning as we pan over. You can see that police are still investigating this wreckage, and we got insight from Chief Jennings earlier today about what actually happened. Now, it's all the result of an initial wreck on southbound 85 near the Harris exit. It all happened late Tuesday night after another wreck that happened on Tuesday night. Several officers arrived on the scene, including Officer Goodwin. They came there to relieve other officers at a shift change. They were there basically to alert drivers to slow down and move over as crews worked to remove that initial wreckage. According to police, that's when 2 18-wheelers collided and then plowed into the officers' cruisers, killing Officer Goodwin and injuring 3 other officers. When asked if there was anything at all that could have been done to prevent this tragedy, here's what Chief Johnny Jennings had to say.
I don't have answers to say that if we put these safety precautions in place, this wouldn't happen. The only way this doesn't happen is if people recognize that there are blue lights in the roadway, slow down, and take extra precaution. And when you don't do that, you put the lives of men and women who are there to serve and protect in danger.
And that is exactly what happened. Of course, Chief Jennings said that it is all too early to know what charges could follow to these 2 drivers. One of the drivers of those 18-wheelers was taken away to the hospital, again with non-life-threatening injuries. As we get more information on this wreck and all the other details throughout the day, we'll give them to you. We're live on southbound I-85. Richard Vane, we'll send it back to you.
Richard, thanks. Now we want to turn it over to Tradisha Woodard. And Tradisha, you're learning more about Officer Goodwin, who we've learned just came back from maternity leave, had 3 young kids.
Well, Officer Mia Goodwin was transported here to Atrium after the crash. Now, all you could see was lots of blue lights and a line of police cars transporting her to the hospital this morning. Now, this was from the scene of the crash on I-85. Officer Goodwin proudly served the University City Division with CMPD. She's a mother of 3 and was just returning from maternity leave. Now, she leaves behind 3 children, ages 1 and 3 years old and 4 months old, and her husband, who serves as a Charlotte Fire Department firefighter. Now, Chief Jennings spoke at a press conference this morning saying Officer Goodwin had been with the police department for more than 6 years.
Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department is hurting. We mourn the loss of Police Officer Mia Goodwin, and the profession hurts, our city hurts.
Now, Governor Roy Cooper also tweeted this statement saying, quote, "Our hearts are with family, friends, and Charlotte-Mecklenburg PD on the loss of Officer Mia Goodwin." He goes on to say, "Grateful for officers who take risks every day to keep us safe." Now, CMPD says the other 3 officers that were involved in the crash were all brought here to Atrium as well. They have all been released. Chief Jennings says the person that was driving the tractor trailer is still currently hospitalized. Live in Dilworth, Tradisha Woodard, WCNC Charlotte.
Just the more we learn about this story, the more of a gut punch it is for everybody who hears about it. Tradisha, thank you. Well, many condolences pouring in for Officer Goodwin's family and for CMPD. The other agencies sending their thoughts and their prayers. Many of you, our viewers, also sending your well wishes. If you would like to wish the family and the department well, please head on over to our Facebook page. Well, I-85 still shut down because of all of this. Chris Mulcahy standing by with a look to show you some alternate routes around it.
Yeah, first things first, Ben, is the plan is to reopen this to, it's only going to be out into one lane, which is still going to be a nightmare traffic-wise. But right now, look at the backup. This is active right here at I-85 at 485, so it's really tough to get around this. So here's what happened. This was an interesting situation. The first accident, 24,000 pounds of corn feed spilt. This covered the right two lanes and the shoulder for about 200 feet. That created a wax-like consistency, making the roads very dangerous, and that's why it's taken so long, not just the investigation, but also to make sure that this is a safe roadway. That's likely why only one lane is going to be open. So the detour, the best one to do is to get on 485, follow to exit 32, and then still North Tryon, very congested right now because everyone's filtering on here. You need to take that all the way down to I-85 connector, and that brings you to exit 42. So still a disaster here. Taking 29 is probably your best bet if you're coming from Concord. Also, alternative routes is maybe taking the northern part of 485 back and around, even 73 if you're desperate, but still try to avoid this area at all costs. It's still going to be a mess, even with just one lane open, Ben.
All right, Chris, thanks. And folks, we're going to continue covering this story all day long. Make sure you keep it here on WCNC Charlotte and download our WCNC Charlotte app. That way you can be notified on the latest developments as soon as we learn them.